Yeah, really good quarterback, really good athlete. Ball flies out of his hands, makes good reads, really smart, and then obviously he's mobile, makes a lot of plays with his legs. So, we have a challenge on our hands, and, he's a really good player.
You had mentioned after the playoff loss last year that it just came down to those small errors here and there. Are there ways to judge if y'all are more ready for that now?
Yeah, because we're taking the initiative to be ahead of that. Even today, talking to Amari Farrell, Devin Boykin, all of us at practice, we got to win on the small things. So anytime the ones aren't out there, we're on the sideline, we're telling each other, like, got to stay on it. Angles to the football, communication has to be at an all-time high. We're making sure that we take the initiative, take command now, and those won't play a factor in the game as long as we're, keen on them now, kind of hammer those details out.
Oregon's one of the nation's leaders in points per game and in explosion plays. Give me a player's view. What makes them so good in both areas that you see?
Yeah, schematically they throw a lot at you. A lot of run frames. The pass concepts are well designed, and then obviously you got to have good players, and they have great players over there. So it starts with a quarterback, really good player. Ball just flies out of his hands. Really smart, is able to kind of decipher coverages really well. And then the receivers on the outside are fast, really good playmakers. And then they got a bunch of backs that can make that offense go. So you pair that with a really good O-line, and there's a really good offense that will throw a lot at you that you have to prepare for. But a lot of it is going to be on us, and how well can we play together? How well can we lock into our details? Where are your eyes at? The keys that you have to read, and then just pre-snap communication, things like that.
What makes Fernando such a special quarterback?
Yeah, Fernando's been great since he got here. Leadership-wise, he's been phenomenal. And then obviously I think his arm talent speaks for itself. Kind of like the Oregon guy as well. Ball just flies out of his hands. And then, when he runs, he's mobile. He makes people miss. Just really good mentally as well. Even going against him, in practice and, fall camp and things like that. Just really smart, deciphering coverages and, getting the ball in his hands quick.
You mentioned more. Anything else stand out about their offense from film you've watched?
Really just altogether a really good offense. Schematically, like I said, they throw a lot at you that you have to be prepared for. And a lot of little intricacies, in their offense that you have to be, keen on, or, they'll exploit your defense really quick. So just a lot to prepare for with really good players. And, this is exactly why you come to Indiana. You want to play in games like this against really good football teams.
When it comes to them using those multiple running backs, just how do you prepare for those different looks, seeing a few different guys going in and out of the backfield?
Yeah, you got to be able to match personnel. When they come in with two backs or one back, you got to be able to match personnel with what we do. And then obviously you got to be able to get the ball on the ground. I think that's the biggest thing. So no matter who has the ball in their hand, if that's a running back, a tight end, or a receiver, you got to make them feel it, kind of make them regret running the ball. But they do a great job, utilizing a lot of different running backs in a lot of different sets.
How early did you start preparing for this game? You had the bye week and stuff like that, but did you get an early jump, and what were you looking at?
Oh, yeah, I started, I think it was the day after Iowa, that Sunday, just kind of jumping into film. Obviously, when I'm watching teams, I just like to see kind of what do they like to do, certain situations, what are their bread and butter plays and things like that. What type of plays do they kind of go back to in key situations, just things like that. So, obviously they had a game against Penn State that was really good to watch. They just have a lot of good things on film that you have to prepare for. And obviously, their players, they're really good players. So just kind of studying their players, how they play, how they move. And then I think schematically is the biggest thing for me, just kind of seeing what they like to do scheme-wise.
I know Mikhail had mentioned back in the spring even that he had this one highlighted. This was like in January. Like he was looking ahead to this one. Are you kind of in that same spot where you've just been locked in on this game, how much it means, and why does it mean that much?
For me personally, not really. For me, I'm a one game at a time approach. Iowa was the biggest game of my career, and now it'll be this game. Just because it's the next one, we got to go win it. So obviously, I know the media and the narrative is this a really big game. I think it is that way because we've kind of earned it to be a really good football team, as well as they have. So. But I'm not going to put too much pressure and emphasis on it. It's the next game on our schedule.
As much as y'all accomplished last year, though, this is kind of the one that maybe wasn't there, right? Winning on the road elite team. Is there maybe an added chip there to try to prove, like, okay, we belong?
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot of these guys in here kind of felt the disrespect from last year, kind of carried into this year with a chip on their shoulder. But like I said, this is why you come here to play in games like this. They have a lot of coverage. A lot of people are going to be watching. But I mean, this is what Indiana football is now. We're going to play in these big games and expect great outcomes. So, just got to prepare for it like any other game.
When you play against a team in an offense like Oregon, do you guys try and take one or two things away, or is it a little bit more reactionary as far as adjusting to them?
When you go against a good offense like this, you don't really want them to dictate terms to you. And that's how they've been so successful. So just being able to kind of key in on little things that they do, be able to, obviously our defense is, prides itself on stopping the run. And I think they have a great run game, so that's going to be a challenge for us. And then when we do get them in pass situations, you got to be able to match coverage. You got to be able to get the ball out of the quarterback's hands quickly, or get to him and make him feel it. But I just think it's a tough offense to prepare for, and one that we have our hands full with.
Two more for Aiden. Football weather more, I guess, on Saturday with lower temperatures and more rain. Anything extra to prepare for in that sense that you guys do in practice?
Not really. You kind of just go forward with it. If it's going to rain or shine. I guess Saturday we'll kind of see what the weather brings and kind of if that changes any of the game plan for anybody.
How important was it to have D'Angelo back this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, it's huge. Obviously a great player, a really good leader for our team and our defense. So getting him back is kind of like a little confidence boost for our defense again. And that's regardless if he's going to be out there or not. It's just good to have his presence there. Just suited up, and if not, we'll have Rylan Gandy or Amarian Knighton ready to go. But just having your leader kind of back in the secondary, stepping up and having him back healthy is always a good sign.
Thanks, Aiden.
Thank you.